jam for a little bit and just share some insights as I reflect and integrate the learnings of the last week and really the last 6 months. I've dove head first into my vision of what I call intentional justice strategy. And really, how can we take bite-sized and deliberate action every damn day as we persist, as we engage in a cyclical process of learning, action, dialogue, and reflection. And, in this process, I've actually shifted how I think about those 4 kind of activities. I think there's a new shift in order, which is very fitting because I shared a video earlier this week on my blog about how I'm manifesting a revision and shift, and really a shift thanks to spring, what I like to call spring shift. As you may or may not have noticed, Mama J shaved nearly half of my head. So it's not just a hairdo. Literally this side it's gone. Shaved it off, was feeling ready to release a part. And yeah, it's been really freeing. It's been fascinating to experience folks' reactions, and to be quite honest, it's the first time that I've done something to my hair that all people have noticed, but I'll talk about that in just a minute. So part of manifesting this new vision, really the kickoff was me cutting my hair, which was a week ago. And to me, it's been a daily reminder, that physical reminder that I'm a badass. And it's taken nearly 36 years to embrace that and know that I am on a journey to support other badass women. Whether you have chosen to raise your kids and that's your full-time job, or you are like me and you like juggling motherhood with a commitment to your passions, then this is also the place for you. And if you're doing the work, which I'm going to talk about here in a little bit, if you're doing the work and you know that you need the support and sisterhood and the reminder to fuel your soul in the moments in between, then this is you. You're a badass. We are in a time when we have a lot of choice. We get a lot of choice of what gets viewed in front of us, where we spend our time, who we spend our time with, and this is really a call to action that's beyond, I think it could be one view of intentional justice is continuing to put one foot in front of the other. And I would say that's really kind of level 1. But the ultimate of intentional justice is social justice. And I believe that we can experience justice in our lives every day. And that's really where intentional justice comes in, because that arc of social justice is long. And I think we're seeing that even in just the last 50 years, right? The policy isn't enough to change minds. We can make progress, and yet there's still values and beliefs that are deeply rooted in our society. And so I've been on this incredible journey with some amazing colleagues and leaders in education, and those that are more at an organizational level, to really engage in what it looks like in committing to diversity, equity, and inclusion. and it's allowed me to really test in a dynamic atmosphere intentional justice at its core. And this week in particular, it's been a merging of my buckets, my love buckets, between data and this diversity, equity, inclusion work, which I'll just reference as DEI moving forward. And what's beautiful about this work is it's allowing me to really tap into my strengths as an activator, as a facilitator, as a thinker, and really creating transformational experiences. And so part of that has been engaging with folks around the cycle of liberation. And these are all the things that I reference, I will share below. I plan to share this into a blog post on my website. And so I'm going to start a resource list because it's growing, and I want to share what I know, what I'm engaging in with my tribe and with my community as I make this pivot, and more of a visible pivot. This is work I've been doing, and I'm open to hearing if this sounds like work you want to engage in, your organization wants to engage in. I am making plans to create some group experiences throughout Oakland and Berkeley in the coming months. One being a writers group for Black, Indigenous women of color. So if that is of interest to you, definitely reach out. And where I want to take this is the very subject of this video, which is learning to unlearn. So what I feel like I'm activating today is me showing up to you, my community, to just share some of the things that I am learning to unlearn. It's truly been a journey this last year as I committed to my writing dreams and dove into 35 lessons at 35. I got to lesson 15 and something inside me told me to pause and to say that those lessons are activated, that I have even begun to draft the remaining 20. But I'm not confident that sharing that on my blog is the right move right now, and that's okay. So I'm pivoting, and that pivot is to show up live for you. I'm not sure what this frequency is going to look like. I definitely want it to be a first Friday of the month reflection. And if it's more than that, I'll let you know. So you can expect to see me this first Friday of June, which is actually June 1st this year. So what am I learning to unlearn, and what do I mean by that? So at 36 years old, I have learned a lot from various sources and various places. But what I'm waking up to as a woman of color, as a Black queer mama, as one raising a human in these wild times, that really three things. So unconscious bias. I've been reading a lot about it. I've been engaging in various activities to really unearth my blind spots, which I know I still have many. I've been engaging in what is called white dominant culture practices, and there's two beautiful handouts that I can share with you based on a collective work that I'm totally spacing on the woman's name, but credit where credit's due, and that's in the handout. And then also this idea exploring anti-racist education instead of a multicultural one. And what's the distinction between those? And how does that fall within equity? And in particular, what does that look like compared to social justice education? What does that look like in relation to culturally responsive pedagogy? So these are all aspects that I'm engaging in with folks. The sun is shining in, so I'm gonna just appreciate it for a minute. And these are the texts and the tools that are really helping me unlearn what I've been taught from the womb. You know, I was brought to this work based on my own experience around gender and the differences that I noticed as a female athlete and then as a queer woman. And yeah, so now I feel like there's a reawakening, a pushing further of my racial understanding, and in particular beginning to unpack my own internalized oppression. And that really connects to the limiting beliefs of years, my entire life. And it's exciting to know that I get to engage in that work at an organizational level with fellow leaders, and then really exploring what that looks like with a collective. I still have my vision for what I'm calling the soul medicine sisterhood. I'm still working on format and how you'll access the plethora of resources that I've been building and dreaming about and beginning to create. So this is really the activation of that. And if anything rings true for you, please comment below. Let me know. I'm moving forward with what I see as a need in my community, in my smaller tribe, the Lovelution tribe, you all, as well as the larger community of Oakland and really just the world, because we're all connected. We are all connected beings. I had a moment last week where I had the pleasure to be in silence for an entire day and attend a Mindful of Race workshop at Spirit Rock. And it reminded me that we belong to each other, and we've somehow lost sight of that. And when you look someone else in the eye, a complete stranger, and say, you belong to me, and my heart belongs to you, that changes you, and I'm ready to activate that for more hearts. So thanks for watching, thanks for listening. This is what I believe to be the first of many. It may take on different shapes and form. I love video, but you know, sometimes the hair doesn't always look this great, and I still want to be in my PJs, so these might be audio sometime, and that's okay. So if you like what you heard, give a thumbs up, a heart. If you have a question, put it in the comments below. If you want to learn more about any of the resources that I mentioned, also let me know below, send me a direct message, and in the coming days, I will work on that page on my website that will have some of these resources. Until then, just comment below and I'll share the link, and we'll get this party started. Some conversation and hopefully an intention to begin your own journey to learn to unlearn. So thank you for joining me, and I'm going to end with the question that I've been holding since the full moon, and that is, what are you waiting for? Which allowed me to show up today for you. So what are you waiting for in your life? You can also let me know that below, because that is taking bite-sized and deliberate daily action in your life, which means, you guessed it, intentional justice is happening. It's activated. You're experiencing it. So thanks again for joining me, and I look forward to being back here in June. Much love.